Welcome back to Sports Talk Show with Ed. We do have a little bit of a development going on here, so we're going to go ahead and share that. Again, I do apologize. We were supposed to live stream tonight, but due to some technical difficulties, we were not able to. So this show is being programmed, recorded. So this will be posted on YouTube later on. So we've been informed that the Dallas Cowboys is actually parting ways um, with their offensive coordinator, and that's being reported through NFL Network. So, Cowboys are actually going to be looking for an offensive coordinator. Um, okay, here it is. So, this is being reported by Tom Pelissero from NFL Network. Says Cowboys and offensive coordinator Kellen Moore have mutually agreed to part ways per mutual sources. Moore is bright, young, offensive minded, and will have options, but Dallas felt change was needed after a disappointing finish and now is looking for a new OC. As you know, the Cowboys lost last week to the 49ers 19-12. We don't know what's going to happen here, but let's see what Dallas does. And they'll be looking for a new coordinator, but chances are maybe Mike McCarthy will be calling plays for the foreseeable future. In case you just joined us right now, we went over the AFC Championship game. The Kansas City Chiefs beat the Cincinnati Bengals 23-20 at Arrowhead. This will be the Chiefs' third Super Bowl appearance in 5 years. They beat the Bengals for the first time under the Patrick Mahomes era. Mahomes did it by himself. He threw 29 passes for 306. He had 2 touchdowns. The game-winning play was pretty much the 9-yard run by Mahomes, which tacked on a 15-yard personal foul penalty by the Bengals. After that late hit set up the game-winning field goal, and again the Chiefs win in Arrowhead. So now let's go talk about the NFC Championship game. We all saw what happened earlier today on Fox. The Eagles beat the 49ers 31-7. It was one of those weird games that you often don't see happen a lot, you know. You don't see a quarterback, let alone your remaining quarterbacks, get knocked out of the game and then one gets in with an injured elbow. We're going to call him Mr. Reliable. And what that means is Brock Purdy was 12-0 as and started, took the Niners to 12 wins, a win in the playoffs, a win against the Seahawks, a win against the Cowboys. But today it was a very, very different outcome for the San Francisco 49ers. Here's what we know. The 49ers got exposed today. Not only did Brock Purdy got hurt in the first quarter. Now keep in mind, this was still a close game in the first quarter when he had that elbow injury. Technically, he wasn't supposed to be back in. But what happened next was very strange. So we all remember what happened at the beginning of the season. Trey Lance was supposed to be the successor of the 49ers. He got hurt. Jimmy Garoppolo, the guy that was supposed to be traded or whatnot, he took over. We all know what he did the year before. He wasn't supposed to be back, but he still stayed. So they were riding his wagon again. But guess what happened next? He gets hurt. So now everybody says, oh, the season's over. Can't win without Jimmy G. I guess they proved us wrong. Brock Purdy came in. Led them to 12 wins, the division, 2 playoff wins, a win away from the Super Bowl, but it turned out to be ugly. Purdy got hurt in the first quarter. They bring in Josh Johnson, the veteran, the guy that's been around. You know, he kept the team in it for a while. Then he gets hurt. So then Christian McCaffrey is supposed to be the backup quarterback, the emergency guy. He was going to go in. But then, Lord behold, Purdy comes back in and he is just very, very ineffective. You can see on the sidelines he was very being hurt. You can see on the sidelines he was hurt. You can see that he was in pain. He couldn't throw the ball. All he did was handoffs and screens. They tried fake plays. They set up the receiver pass. The play that McCaffrey did against the Rams in his first game, that didn't work. So what do? You're down 14, 21-7, Super Bowl's on the line. What do? You just got to play through. That's all you do. All you can. You remember a couple years ago with the Broncos and the Saints during the COVID season, where it was the Broncos and the Saints, their players were out with COVID-19. They had to play with a bunch of backups. The Broncos had to use a wide receiver that was a quarterback in high school as a quarterback. It wasn't that bright. It wasn't that good. It was very ugly. But they still got it done. The job went done. Now, why am I saying this? It is important to have backup players in the National Football League. I'm going to give you a story. 1999, the Jets, the New York Jets. Yes, I'm going way back. Vinny Testaverde was their quarterback. Guess what happened in that game? He ruptures his Achilles. He's out for the season. In that game, they only had two quarterbacks. Tom Tupa, who was the punter, and the journeyman Rick Meyer, who was supposed to be the next Joe Montana. Testaverde goes out. Tupa comes in. Tupa plays a hell of a game. They could have won the game, but they went to Rick Meyer. The NFL rules state that if you have your emergency guy in before the fourth quarter, that means you got to take a guy out. Meaning that if Rick Meyer would have gone in that game after Vinny got hurt, Tom Tupa would not be able to play the game. It's simple as that. So in this case, McCaffrey was the emergency quarterback, but the problem was he was a running back. If he switched positions, then he wouldn't be able to be running back. Also, he was supposed to get another helmet. If you saw during that timeout, he was supposed to get the quarterback's helmet because of the play calling communications. Well, that didn't go well. So instead of putting Christian McCaffrey in as a quarterback, they went in and they decided to put in Purdy. Purdy got back in. He was very ineffective after. He just you can tell he was struggling, but I mean, I give Kyle Shanahan all the credit in the world because he kept that team together. This team faced a lot of adversaries. No one thought they were going to be here after losing Jimmy Garoppolo, after losing Trey Lance. John Lynch is the smartest GM out there on the planet because he kept one of his veterans that basically saved his franchise. He saved the season. But they fell one game short. When Purdy went down, it was pretty much over. I kept saying don't keep them in it because the Niners are very, very unpredictable. So here's my point. What happened? The Eagles were just powerful. Jalen Hurts, he was just hurting them. And if you don't believe me, let me show you a couple plays.
Second and goal. Hand it off. Sanders walks in. Touchdown, Eagles. Hurts
first year. You see him there. He's fired up. He's made now in his first year. You see him there. He's fired.
Well, there's some of the highlights from that game from Fox Sports. You can tell, Jalen Hurts being on that field really helped the Eagles. And there's a couple of things. What happened here was San Francisco was making a lot of mistakes, a lot of mental mistakes that you hardly don't see happen often. We're going to go back to the second quarter. It was still 14-7. The Eagles had just scored. Josh Johnson, who just got called up, or been called up, he fumbled the ball inside their red zone. Guess what happened next? The Eagles got it, and they got a score before the half. It was 21-7. We're going to go a little bit later into the third quarter. The 49ers were about to stop the Eagles, which they did. Now it's 4th and 6. Two things happened here. First, the punter got hit. Second, the one thing that was on your mind is, what's going to happen here? You would think a roughing or running into the punter would be a specific choice. But when the referee said personal foul, roughing the kicker, the floodgates opened. You had him stopped, but now you kept the drive going. We're going to go back, or we're going to continue on in the same drive. The Niners had the Eagles up the corner. Jalen Hurts throws an incomplete pass. Guess what happens next? A defensive penalty for illegal use of hands to the face. Another third down turned to first down. Not just that, we're going to go later on in the game. Jalen Hurts runs for a first down, gets hit laid out of bounds by the 49ers. Guess what happens next? First and goal from the 9. A couple plays later, they get a touchdown. You see the routine I'm going with here? You don't get away with those penalties unless you have a good defense. In this case, the Niners were just pretty much outplayed this whole time.
Cooks, right? He's punching at that ball.
And that leads me to my final point right there. At the end of the game, a fight breaks out. Dre Greenlaw of the 49ers is basically throwing haymakers inside that tackle to strip the ball. But what you don't see, or what you miss, is he's technically throwing punches. He's frustrated. He's upset. I don't blame him. But sportsmanship is something that's not really discussed much in sports. If you're a champion, you have to lose like a champion. I remember a long time ago that the Lakers got swept by the Dallas Mavericks, and there were some cheap fouls, and they were already losing by 30 points. Here you got outplayed and you did your best, but your luck just ran out. You can't do that stuff. When you think of San Francisco 49ers, you think of the Super Bowls, you think of the players, and you think of the coaches that went through that organization. Those type of actions are very, very unacceptable, and they should be ashamed for themselves. I get you're getting your butt kicked. I get that the season's over. But you have to lose like a champion. You have to admit that you got outplayed. Not only that they outplayed you, but you shot yourselves in the foot. You made a lot of costly mistakes that got points on the board for the Eagles. Jalen Hurts and them didn't have to do much. By the end of the night, it was gone. and the championship gets thrown to the Eagles. So what do we learn? The Eagles are a real team. This is not an Eagle team that's cocky or overconfident. No, this team has attitude. You have a young quarterback who's in his prime. You got a head coach who's basically running an offense that just can't be stopped. When Jalen Hurts was gone, this team was struggling. He lost to the Commanders. He lost to the Cowboys, I guess. Actually, no, you beat the Cowboys. But you got to protect your guy if he's going to go to the Super Bowl. I'm going back to the haymaker play. There were some punches, it just broke hell after that. The frustration got to them. Now, if you're the Eagles, you got to be careful because you already claimed your victory. The last thing you want is to lose a player for something stupid. Again, you got to lose like a champion. You have to admit you got outplayed and you made a lot of mistakes. And for the 49ers, the clock just turned midnight. Kyle Shanahan did the best he could with the quarterback situation. He had to go to Purdy. He couldn't put McCaffrey in there. By then, it was just out of hand. The final score was 31-7. And with that, we'll go ahead and close this segment here. We will take a short break, and when we come back, we will talk about Super Bowl 57, the Eagles, and the Chiefs. Stay with us.